When we picture a genius, what comes to mind? Probably someone who aced every test, remembers everything, and never makes a mistake, right? But what if I told you that real, high-level intelligence often looks nothing like that? In fact, what if it looks a little weird?
And that's exactly what we're digging into. Psychologists are finding, again and again, that the minds of exceptionally intelligent people just operate differently. Their habits might seem odd to us, but they're not flaws. Oh no, they're actually signs of a brain working on a completely different level.
So that's the big question, isn't it? We're going to peel back those old stereotypes and take a look at the hidden habits, the quiet signals that point to a truly remarkable mind.
Here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll step inside the mind's private workshop. Then, we'll see how these minds view the world in stunning high resolution. After that, we'll explore the social cost of all that depth. And finally, we'll meet a group known as the silent gifted. Ready? Let's go.
All right, first up, let's go inside their heads. This is where some of the most misunderstood habits live. And I want to be clear, these aren't just weird quirks, they are seriously powerful cognitive tools.
So, have you ever caught yourself talking to yourself or seen someone else doing it and thought, that's a bit strange? Well, for a high IQ mind, that's not a sign of madness at all. It's actually their brain's way of organizing information out loud.
So why do they do it? Well, think of it like a mental superpower. It helps them process information way faster, untangle really complex feelings, lock memories into place, and even sparks creativity. So while you or I might see something odd, their brain is just kicking into high gear.
Okay, what about daydreaming? I think we all see that as a bit of laziness, right? A lack of focus. But for these minds, what looks like zoning out is actually them clocking in for a serious shift at their own private cognitive workshop.
And get this isn't just an escape, it's an incredibly productive mental space. Neurological studies have actually shown that this kind of mind-wandering fires up the brain's default mode network. That's the part tied to creativity, planning, and big-picture thinking. So when they're staring off into space, they might just be designing the next big thing.
Now that intense inner world has to come from somewhere, right? Well, it's fueled by how they see the outer world. And that brings us to our next section. They literally experience reality with a level of detail that's hard for most of us to imagine.
I love this analogy. Think about the difference between an old standard definition TV and a brand new 8K screen. Highly intelligent people are processing the world in 8K all the time. It's a state called hyper-awareness, and it changes everything.
So what does that 8K vision actually look like? Well, it means they're the ones who notice the tiny, almost invisible details. That slight shift in your voice, a micro-expression that flashes across a face for a split second, or a hidden pattern in what looks like total chaos. Their brain is just vacuuming up all this extra data. And this leads directly to what we love to call overthinking. But here's the reframe. For them, it might not be anxiety. It's the natural result of seeing so many details, so many connections, and so many possible outcomes all at once. It's their pattern recognition engine just running in the red. This quote just nails it. Their mind isn't just living in the present, it's a powerful simulator. It's constantly running scenarios, calculating risks, and exploring all these branching pathways that most people would never even think of.
So, what happens when a mind like that, a high-res, future-simulating machine, has to, make small talk at a party? Well, that brings us to the social cost of all this depth. And yeah, it can get tricky.
Because their brains are wired for depth and complexity, some social situations are just exhausting. And this, right here, is the key to why highly intelligent people can get bored so easily. Small talk feels like static. Predictable chatter is just draining. What really lights them up are those deep, meaty conversations, tackling a complex problem or diving into huge philosophical questions.
This chart gives us a fantastic snapshot of their social battery. Just look at that tiny little sliver, only 10% for surface-level stuff. They pour almost all their energy into meaningful solitude and deep, authentic connections. This isn't them being antisocial. This is smart energy management.
And that's the bottom line. It's why they often have a very small, very trusted circle of friends. They're not looking for a crowd, they're looking for a genuine connection. They know what fills them up and what drains them. And they aren't afraid to protect their energy.
Okay, this all brings us to our final section where we tie all these habits together. This relentless drive for depth, for meaning, for connection, It fundamentally shapes how they see the world and all of its rules.
A highly intelligent mind isn't just going to follow the rules because that's the way it's always been done. No way. They have this deep, burning need to take everything apart and understand the logic underneath. They're constantly asking why. They have to understand it from the ground up.
And you know, this kind of trait is a classic double-edged sword. That constant questioning can make them incredible innovators and inspiring leaders. But in systems that value conformity over curiosity, it can also get them labeled as rebels or outcasts.
And that leads us to this really powerful concept psychologists call the silent gifted. These are the people whose genius is all around us, but it's hiding in plain sight. Why? Because we're looking for the wrong things. We're looking for the stereotype, not the real substance.
And I think this is the most important thing to remember from all of this. True intelligence doesn't always need to be the loudest voice in the room. Often, it's quiet, it's unusual, and because of that, it is so often misunderstood.
So I'm going to leave you with a final question to think about. Intelligence is so much more varied and strange than we give it credit for. So maybe it's time to take another look at those habits we call weird, in ourselves and in other people. What if they aren't weird at all? What if they're the fingerprints of a truly remarkable mind at work?